What's good, YouTube? Flash Speaks back, man. Another one of these things. Of course, you see what it is today. Phillies hat, you know what I mean? But anyway, man, I've been sitting here all day listening to Philadelphia Eagles content. More on the line of the radio stations and the callers calling up, complaining and bitching and all of that. Rightfully so this time around, because this team truly is what many of y'all thought it was all year, and that's just bad. Team is bad right now. Anytime you're in week 12, 13, whatever this is, and you got the coach talking about, we're searching for the answers. You got quarterback talking about, we need to establish an identity. Things are bad. It's just that simple. The coach, I believe, is clueless. The quarterback, I believe, feels like he's just defeated. Whether it was like a going back and forth with an A.J. Brown or going back and forth with a Patullo or whatever the situation is, I feel like the quarterback just gave up, said, all right, whatever, we're going to do things your way. Because, you got leaks coming out talking about he this, he that, and all that kind of stuff. Like, the question is, how would many of you react? It probably wouldn't be that different. We winning games. Finding ways to win, team kick, clawing, scratching all year, beating the best teams in the league pretty much every week, and people still complaining. You got this one wide receiver complaining, fronting like he's complaining about the overall offense and overall team, concern of the team, when in reality, all he worried about is his own targets and his own catches and his own numbers. Let's keep it a buck. For all of y'all that are just either dumb or pretending to be dumb, to act like you don't really know what A.J. Brown is about, you can't really argue with a guy like me. I pay way too much attention. I've been following the Eagles way too long. I know how this thing goes. And I'm going to just give you two examples of what I'm talking about. 2022. It's around week 10, week 11. Philadelphia Eagles are playing the New York Giants. Philadelphia Eagles blow the New York Giants all the way out, 48-22, something like that. And guess who complaining? 48-22. Ball being thrown all over the place, running all over the place, all that. Guess who complaining? A.J. Brown, right? And we wonder why. You look at A.J. Brown in that game, he had 4 catches, 70 yards, right? And he was complaining. Okay, this is around the first time when he really did that. This was the year we went to the Super Bowl 2022. All right? So for those of y'all who think it's just the offense, explain to me why A.J. Brown's complaining on the day when the team scored 48 and blew the New York Giants out. Break that down to me, how A.J. Brown is concerned about how the offense look and now his targets. Break that down to me. Break that down to me, how A.J. Brown is like just worried about, I just want to help the team and all of that. Break that down to me, how that works. I'll give you another example just in case that don't work for you and you still slow. We got a game against the Vikings this year, okay, where Jalen Hurts, despite all that you want to say, if you want to follow the propaganda that he's having this horrible year, he's really not. But if you want to follow that propaganda, and I'm gonna go with you, let's go to the Viking game. Jalen Hurts in that game posts a perfect passer rating. Perfect passer rating. No interceptions, 3-4 touchdowns. Shit. Devontae Smith get a touchdown. Goddard get a touchdown. Freaking A.J. Brown gets 2 touchdowns. But what? Just 4 catches. 4 catches. All right, and what does he go do after this game? This was an impressive game where we felt like the passing game was going to get going, right? This is how we felt at that time during that Viking game where we went out there and really beat the Vikings pretty well, okay? A.J. Brown goes on his Twitter and he says, using me but not using me, like a little bitch, okay? All right, why would A.J. Brown complain in a game where you had a perfect passer rating and the offense looked good and smooth and all that kind of stuff, right? And he actually had 4 catches for 100 yards and two touchdowns. What is he pissed about? It's because A.J. Brown wants to be targeted all game, right? Now let me take you to this game. A.J. Brown what? Last game gets what? 10 catches, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. They go interview him. Yeah, well, what can you do to help the team? Well, I'm just going to stay positive, such and such. The week before, in another loss, he gets 8 catches, whatever, I get. And then, what does he say? They asked him, when can the offense get his? He said, I think we are, it's just such and such. You see the difference how he is when he gets a bunch of targets and when he doesn't? Now, some of you might say this is after Jeffrey Lurie talked to him. I don't know, whatever the case may be. All I know is I've seen what I'm seeing, okay? What you have is a malcontent and a cancer that's in the locker room that has now transferred his malcontentment onto the rest of the players. That's clearly what it is. All right, now whether or not the Eagles are going to deal with that or not, or figure out how to deal with it, or live with it, find a way to win with it, as they have done, it remains to be seen. We'll see how all that go. But what I'm not liking is some of the stupidity that I'm hearing from this fan base, right, where you want to let Kevin Patullo off the hook, where you want to let Nick Sirianni off the hook and put everything on the quarterback. Now, if we're going to sit there and talk about the quarterback and be honest, yeah, he ain't have his best game last week against the Bears, right? But tell me who the hell did. Explain to me who on the defense had a good game. Explain to me who the hell on offense had a good game. Oh, AJ. All right, now, if you want to argue that AJ had a good game, how does AJ having a good game help us win if we lost so handily like that? Huh? How? Right? Where you got the other quarterback who passed for less yards, okay, less efficiency, lower field goal percent, lower completion percentage, but won the game. How does that work? You know what that's called? That's called a working running game. That's called a better offensive coordinator. And that's called a better defensive effort. That's what that's called, right? It's clear. It's not that complicated. But I understand how this fan base is. You had a group of the fan base who just, deep down, they refuse to believe Jalen Hurts is just a good quarterback. They just refuse to believe it. They believe that there's this imaginary type of quarterback that, wields his team out of bad situations all the time, okay? And, I'm trying to explain to y'all that shit is a myth. That's a mythological creature of a quarterback that don't need a running game, don't need an offensive line, don't need a coordinator, don't need receivers, and wins. It's all mythology, and it's bullshit, and you need to stop believing that stuff, all right? We saw Matthew Stafford yesterday, and I like Stafford, don't get me wrong. Mr. On-time passes. Cause some of you got this other belief that all the quarterback got to do is just be on time with all the passes and everything going to be right. Well, let me explain to you from the standpoint of a cornerback, right? Cornerback, like when I play, I love a quarterback that is just on time and that runs the plays the way they're drawn up to be ran. Because when I study them and I know where they're going to go, I know how to sit on the route because I know what route is coming. I know when it's supposed to be there. So I'm going to intercept it if it's on time. You understand? So it's the quarterbacks that decide not to throw the ball on time because you see the corner that's sitting on the route who can actually go to the other progressions or, can go off script. Those are the quarterbacks that you have more problem with. Ask any defensive player. I remember freaking Ray Lewis being asked about that. And oftentimes, almost all of them will tell you, a guy that can run, that can get around and give you something else to worry about, are the guys they rather not face, right? Not saying they prefer facing Peyton Manning and all of that. I'm not saying that, right? But I'm just telling you what I heard them say, okay? This fan base is getting on my damn nerves. For real, man. There's this saying out here, I don't know, this common belief that the Philadelphia Eagles have one of the most knowledgeable fan bases. Bruh. Listen, there are some of us who know what they're talking about. Like yours truly, for example. And then there's a few others, shout out to everybody that's doing their thing who know what they're talking about. But there's a whole lot of us that do not fit that description, man. There's a whole lot of us that do not fit that description. Many of us, or what I just say is, are just passionate, or what you call emotional fans. That's it. All you know how to do is get emotional, start crying, start bitching at the first sign of any difficulty whatsoever, and you want to see quarterbacks sat down. Like, some of you are so dumb. You're talking about you want to see Tanner McKee in the game. Tanner McKee, a quarterback who was a 5th, 6th round draft pick, which don't mean he's bad, but who has never went up against any real defense, never went up against like a game plan that was structured in order to stop him. All right. Never been in any situation that required any type of clutchness. And you guys are so stupid. You talking about, it's time to put him in there because you think he can throw the ball with so-called timing. This fucking bullshit that y'all on. Timing. Like Jalen Hurts, has no timing. Then how the hell is he completing 70% of his passes with no timing? What you're looking at are the incompletions. What you're looking at are the plays that don't work. And then from that, you're saying, well, he wasn't on time with that play. Or looking at what was missed. Well, guess what? That's going to happen with Tanner McKee. That's going to happen with freaking Matthew Stafford. That's going to happen with fucking Josh Allen. That's going to happen with all them goddamn quarterbacks, man. And a lot of these guys ain't looking too hot at all. Lamar ain't look too damn hot, right? Matthew Stafford, 2 damn picks and a fumble? Like, come on, man. Y'all got to stop it, man, with the dumb stuff. Y'all got to stop it with the dumb stuff, bro. Now, as far as moving forward with the team, I don't know. I'm going to say the same thing I've been saying last couple of weeks. If we cannot figure out how to run the football, I don't know what we can do. And then on the other hand, if we can't figure out how to stop the run, I don't know what we can do. Listen, running the ball, from what I've seen, some of the all 22s and what I've heard some of the experts talking about with the team, and I agree with some of them from me looking at it myself, is part of it is the offensive line is not putting the best effort. And I don't know what the hell is the difference between last year and now. But a lot of these guys are not putting the exact same effort, man. There's times where you got Jordan Mailata, and Landon Dickerson too. 2 guys that I love as players. They're not like holding on. Like when you go to block, you need to take and maul the defender out the way, right? Until you hear a whistle. But what some of them are doing is they'll just put their hands on the defender and then they're releasing and letting the defender just go and make the play. This happened a number of times. And I don't get why there's no instruction that's unacceptable, that you can't do that, right? Maul these guys, man. Usually the defensive players are smaller than the offensive players. Maul them. Maybe it's injury. I don't know. And if so, hey, man, maybe you got to consider getting them guys out of there until they're right. Because it is necessary. It is imperative that we get this offensive line fixed, especially this run blocking, And then it's imperative to go into the playoffs with that right. And then on the other hand, this myth that this defense has been carrying this team all year is bullshit. Now, the defense has certain moments, right? There's certain moments like in the Tampa game, especially in the beginning, certain moments like half of the Rams game, certain moments definitely like against Detroit and against Green Bay. For some reason, they were on point in those games, all right? But last Friday, looked like shit against the Bears. Point blank looked like shit. You got guys doing too much on the defense, man. You got linebackers not playing their gaps right. You got guys whose job is to contain on the outside, not containing right. Jalen Phillips, I don't know. I like him as a pass rusher, but I'm looking at some of his run blocking. Same thing with him and Nolan Smith. They're not holding contain properly, man. Like that, all that type of stuff is basic fundamental stuff that I knew from Little League, bruh. Like, if you're in the linebackers not playing their gaps right, man. If you're A gap, you gotta fucking stay A gap. If you B gap, you gotta stay B. Right stays right, left stays left. It's C gap, you gotta stay C gap. Right? You're a C gap guy, you can't jump over and try to do the B gap guy's responsibility. If you're A gap, you can't run over and do the C gap guy's responsibility. And so on and so forth. But right now, that's what it is. It's just chaos out there in the running game. And I know what it is. They're getting pounded. You're getting tired. And then now what happens is somebody wants to be the hero. And then when someone wants to be the hero, they leave their responsibility that they're supposed to have, going on trying to do somebody else's job. And then now you got chaos all over the place. And this is what's happening right now. And I do have confidence in Vic Fangio that he can fix it. hopefully it isn't a situation where this what's going on with the offense. The shit show that is the offense carrying on into the defense, which I think is what happened last week, right? Because you can't constantly have 3 and outs and then have defense come out there, especially against a team on a cold day that's committed to running the ball. They get worn down. And then you got Vic Fangio running out there. He's never taken Jalen Carter out of the game. Jalen Carter is doing like 98% of the snaps. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? He needs to be fresh. Like, if I'm going to have him going up against these crazy guards, because he went up against crazy guards last couple of weeks, the guys in Dallas, these guys are really damn good, really big, really nasty. Then he going up against these guys with the Bears. You want him fresh. What happened to the guy, Robinson, that we drafted from Nebraska? Where's he? Sometimes you need those guys to go in there and just get reps just so that Jalen Carter can get a breather. How can he get a breather when you're getting 3 and outs? When you're leading the league in 3 and outs? Like, I don't get it. It's acting like there's no common sense anywhere, and it's just a mess right now, What do we got now? 4 weeks, 5 weeks to get it right? We'll see. We'll see, man. Because if you don't, you got a chance where you won't even win the division. Dallas Cowboys have a relatively easy part of their schedule coming up. They got? The Lions. I think they'll lose to the Lions, but I don't know. I don't know that Dallas is the type of team that's good enough to just run the table, keep winning like that. They won 3 in a row for the first time in a long time. I don't know if they can win 5, 6 in a row. I don't know if they're that type of team that could play at a high level constantly like that. We'll see, but we need to not worry about that and just make sure we don't lose anymore. That's just the bottom line to it, man. And that's the situation. I don't know, but I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know, because if they haven't fixed a lot of these things by now, what will he fix? When will they fix it? So we'll see about all that. But the fans in the meantime, y'all, man, please stop with the dumb stuff. It's dumb. It's dumb. It's dumb. All of a sudden, Jalen Hurts not a good quarterback and all that. Come on, man. The dumb stuff. All dudes, man. And really, look at his year. It's not a bad year. Really look at it. Compared to these other quarterbacks. It really isn't. Let me get out of here, man. Just left the gym, tired. Got to get this after workout meal in. I'll get with y'all later, man. Peace out.